boundaries, physical boundaries, energetic boundaries, why this is needed for the empath. Hey beautiful souls, welcome. It's always a blessing to connect with you. If you're new to this channel, I'm so glad to have you, so glad for you to be here. I'm Dani and I help people awaken the healer within them. So today we're going to discuss boundaries as it pertains to our beautiful empaths. Hey empaths. Now understand this video, if you've clicked on it, if you're not an empath, this is still valuable information. This information pertains to any of us, to any human here on earth, to any person going through a healing process, an awakening process. But I'm going to speak in more terms to the empath here. So boundaries are extremely important. One, it prevents burnout. It allows us to speak our truth, to really stand in who we are, what we think, what we want, what we envision. It keeps us from kind of shape-shifting into what other people think we should do and such on. So boundaries are also really important when it pertains to the empath, because if we do not set boundaries, we tend to shape-shift more and pick up everybody else's stuff, and that kind of gives us an identity crisis. So in order to step into empowerment, we really need to be aware of who we are, what our feelings are, what our morals are, what our limitations are, what our beliefs are, what our dreams are, our visions, all that stuff. It's really a journey of, coming in and doing your work, figuring out who you are, what needs healed, how your energy feels, so forth and so on. So when we establish boundaries, we begin this process. When we establish boundaries, we step into that empowerment because we're no longer allowing ourselves to be energetically, emotionally, mentally, or physically drained by others. And we are setting up a boundary saying, you know what, I'm not going to take this on as my own. We can work with this gift from an observer standpoint. We don't have to work with this gift as, being immersed in it. And if you're an empath, that will really resonate with you. So again, this is a process of really, doing your own work first, and this work's going to bring you that empowerment. Now, I'm not going to dive in a whole lot into the physical boundary aspect here. I created a video on creating the space for healing a little while back. It talks a lot about creating boundary establishment. So I'm going to link that here for you. But what are physical boundaries? So physical boundaries is going to be learning to say no to others, and learning to say no for yourselves. Now, the empath, remember, is somebody that attracts a lot of wounded souls, and not in a bad sense, but that's, kind of the purpose of our sensitivity is to be able to feel the world so deeply in others. So we tend to be like a counselor type of person, however you resonate with that along your own path. That doesn't mean it has to be your profession. And so when this happens, we tend to be there for everyone, doing all the things, going all the places, constantly giving. And again, this replenishes us energetically, and then it also allows us to absorb more of other people's energetic shadows, is what I'm going to use here, their wounds. And we tend to lose ourselves in this. And when we tend to lose ourselves, we wear out and we go into an identity crisis. Now, also, we need to learn to say no to ourselves. As an empath and being able to pick up on other people's emotions and feelings and such things, we can tell when others are not happy about us saying no, and it sends us down a really big guilt trip. I've had to deal a lot with this myself, but learning to tell yourself no that you need the time to rejuvenate, to rest, that you don't really want to do that's not in your best interest, that's not what your heart desires, that morally that's not who you are. We need to learn to tell ourselves no in order to give ourselves that empowerment. So it doesn't have, everything to do with other people, as in being in this victim mindset of, well, everybody just puts their stuff on me and I feel everything so much. We have just as much responsibility in this. And when we can stand our ground, tell ourselves no, and tell others no, then that's when, we begin to empower ourselves. Now, it's important for us to have this time to set these boundaries so that we can do the rejuvenation, so that we can do the healing, but most importantly, so we have time to figure out ourselves. So it becomes very hard to differentiate when we're disempowered about, is this someone else's feelings or is this my feelings? Is this really how I feel, or is the collective affecting me? So the more boundaries you put up, the more you're able to actually begin feeling yourself, understanding yourself, seeing who you really are. And then when you do go out into the world and you meet people and you have experiences, that gives you the confidence to know, this is them, this isn't me. So how can I just be a witness or an observer to this and not take it on as my own? So, like I said, that's about it with physical boundaries. I'll link the link to creating space down below. Let's discuss energetic boundaries. So energetic boundaries as an empath is huge. We need to kind of start with those physical boundaries, but then, we speak the language of energy. So when it comes to setting boundaries, we also have to do this in a very energetic way. Now, you're probably going to read and see a whole lot about protection when it comes to the empath. We need to protect ourselves, protecting crystals, protective colors, wearing black, protection. Now, I'm not saying we don't need protection. Some of the things that I talk about are going to gear towards that. But for me personally, I feel like protection's a really negative, heavy word. It has a lot of density to it when we talk about protection, and it kind of again puts us in that victim mentality, that victim mindset as to the world's doing this to me and people are doing this to me, and I need the protection from it. So along my journey, I took a class. It was a master class on Mind Valley with Jeffrey Allen. And he's studied the world of energy for about 20, 30 some years now. He's a ex-engineer who's now deemed one of the healers of the healers. And in this class, I learned about his concept of the permission rose. And the permission rose has been really life-changing for me. Now, Jeffrey asked that if we teach this, we turn this into our own words, and we don't have to give him credit that way. I cannot think of a better explanation than this. So I'm giving Jeffrey the credit here, the permission rose. And if you're into this and want more help, definitely check out Mind Valley, Jeffrey Allen, the masterclass. It's an 8-week course. It's super awesome. So I'm going to walk you through this energetic permission rose. And the idea behind this is that we're going to come into like a relaxed state. We're going to feel our aura. So our aura is our energetic bubble that allows us to communicate to the world. And so it's how people see us, but we also get like other people's energetic bullshit attached on the aura. We can get holes and tears here that allows energy to come in. And the aura is associated to our central energetic system, the chakras. So it also reflects what's going on internally to the world. If you haven't watched my videos on the aura, the energetic body, the chakras, you need to. I'll put some links down here for that as well. So our aura is essentially our communicative aspect, and we can establish a boundary with this as empaths, we tend to walk around with a really open, wide aura because of our ability to connect to the world so deeply. For those that aren't as highly as sensitive, it tends to expand when we're out in nature and we're wanting to soak up the trees and the wind and the birds and things like that. And then when we are around people and in that overwhelming state, it closes into us a whole lot. This is when people can say, you know, she's really shy or timid, and you think in your head like, no, I'm really extroverted and like, you know, when I'm comfortable with somebody. But when you meet people, sometimes you can close off your space because you're guarding yourself. So with this permission rose, we, like I said, will go into a relaxed state. We will become aware of our aura around us. It's just a thought or a feeling is how you're going to associate with it. We're going to notice if we're sitting in the front of our aura. So if you tend to be like really outgoing and you greet people and you're helping everybody and doing all the things, you tend to be in the front. And then, you know, balance is in the center. So hopefully we'll get into the center. And then if you're really shy and reserved, fearful, you know, afraid, you tend to be in the back of your aura. And the aura is what meets people first. And this is an interesting concept as an empath, because what's really greeting people is all your kind of your energetic baggage and other people's energetic baggage that you're hanging on to is what greets people first. So you may find that people have misconceptions about you a lot with this. That stands for another time. So then we will create what's called the permission rose. And the permission rose is what you create that's going to sit in front of you. It gets on the loop of the aura. And it circles around you and it expands and contracts. So you are going to give the permission rose the permission to expand and contract with you based on your feelings. So if you're feeling like being open, the rose will come out with your aura. If you feel like being closed in, the aura and the rose will come in closer to your body for some protection or comfort. And then you give yourself the permission to hold the space that is from the rose to your physical body. So you say, this is my space. This is my space. I have permission to have this space, and others have the permission to have all the space outside of this. So what this does is when you do meet people, when you do go out into society, when you decide to stop hibernating or hermiting, you have this space and no one else's energy can enter that. Because when we typically go out and we don't have this permission set, others' auras tend to like get intertwined with our auras. And that's where we begin to feel so much. When you have this permission space going on about you, you have this kind of protective area where the only way somebody can get in to your energy is if you give them permission to get in. You make the decision to say, I'm going to connect with them a little deeper. I'm going to go in a little deeper. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't talk to people either. You can talk to people, you can hold your space. You can listen to their concerns, their worries, etc. But you can still kind of feel things too, okay? You can still kind of feel things. But here you have the defined feeling as to what is you and what is them. And if you choose to go a little deeper, you can expand your aura. Expand that permission rose. Okay, so let's practice this. We're going to close our eyes, get in a really comfortable spot. We're going to take some deep breaths in our nose and out of our mouth and really just let it go. Let your shoulders relax, let the tension flow. Let you melt away. With each breath. Now this may be difficult the first time. It's okay. Continue to practice it. There's no right or wrong. Just continue to practice. I want you to imagine a white ball of light around you. Does this ball feel really close to your body? Does it feel like it's far away? Just let the answers show up in your mind. Now I want you to notice if you're sitting in the front of this ball, the back of this ball, the centers, the sides. No matter where you're sitting in this ball, make the conscious decision to come into the center. So you have that full protection, that full permission to have all of this space. All of this space is yours. Make the conscious decision to bring this ball to about arm's length. So if you put your arms out, we want this ball to be at about the tip of your fingers. You need to let it out and bring it in. Just do so with your mind, with your intention. Now in front of you, I want you to create a rose in your mind. It doesn't have to be a rose. It can be whatever symbol you wish it to be. It can be a sage stick, your favorite crystal, a heart. But create this symbol in front of you. Place this symbol in the front of your aura. Give this symbol the permission to expand and contract with your aura. Make the conscious decision to set the intention that this symbol gives you permission to have the space, all the space within your aura, whether it is expanded or contracted. This space is your space. All others have permission to hold space outside of this permission symbol. I give permission for all others to hold space outside of this permission symbol. I give permission for me to have the space inside of this permission symbol. Notice if you feel lighter, heavier. If you feel protected. Notice that permission symbol rotating around you, rotating around your aura. Notice if you let your aura out, you give yourself more space, this symbol goes with it. If you want to bring your space in closer to your body, this symbol goes with it. You can come back to the room now. So practice with this, beautiful souls. You can make it every day. You don't have to sit as long to do this either. I mean, you can literally just say, my aura is my space. I have permission to hold this space. All others have permission to hold space outside of my aura, but this is my space. I mean, you can just say it quick like that. It's really just the intention behind it. But I kind of wanted to walk you through the process of, what I did with Jeffrey so that you began to feel it and have some type of practice to work on this your own, for yourself. So notice how you feel today. When you go out into the world, whether or not that's for work or to hang out with friends or just in general being at your house, because again, as empaths, we're highly connected to the collective, to other empaths as well. So, notice if you feel like you've set some type of energetic boundary. Notice if you feel like you don't feel so overwhelmed out in the world today and the days that you continue to practice this. So I hope this helps you. Again, I'm going to put some links on, creating the space for healing, which are physical boundaries. This is great for everyone, specifically empaths. Hey guys, we need to do this. We've got to do the work. We've got to stand up for ourselves and come into this empowerment if we want things to change in our life. So I'll link that there. I'm also going to put a link to the energetic body, just in case you haven't dove into that. You speak energy as an empath, so it's really important to begin to understand what your energetic body is. So I'll link that, as well as the first chakra video, the root chakra. And then you can just fall in line. I've done videos on all 7 chakras. It goes pretty in depth. And so you can begin to use this to help heal and become more aware of your energy as well. And then I'm also going to link a video or a link for Jeffrey Allen for Mind Valley. So if you are interested in checking out, the master class, studying energy a little bit deeper, that link will be available for you as well. Beautiful souls, let me know what you think about this. Let me know how your permission rose is helping you, how it feels to define your space energetically and physically. I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the likes and the subscribes. It's helping the information get out to more places. Just remember, you are never alone, okay? We are in this together, and until next time, there's nothing but love and light. Nothing but love and light.